Welcome to the Trinity channel and ABN site. I am your host, Narain Anwea. I am an activist and I am here with our co-host, Chris Conway.
Good evening.
Good evening, and we are here. We are so honored and so happy to have a wonderful organization and actually the director of the Media Communications and Outreach for In Defense of Christians. We have Ninar Kerouz live with us today. Welcome to the show, Ninar.
How are you? And how are you, Chris?
I'm doing well, Nina. Thanks for asking. Great to see you.
Great,
thank you. Good to be with you. Thanks for having us with you.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. And Nina, let's start off with this wonderful organization that you work for, In Defense of Christians. How old is the organization, and tell us more about it in details.
Well, In Defense of Christians, or IDC, is a little bit less than a year old. It started last September with its inaugural summit in Washington, D.C., which I'm sure you have heard of, Nahrain. Yeah. And let me tell you about how it began, because it's also an amazing story that I'm sure Trinity TV will appreciate hearing. There were two men who didn't know each other, who didn't know one another. One of them, Tufik Batlini, and Lebanese American, and another one, Andrew Doran, who each separately wanted to do something about the Christian plight in the Middle East, and they didn't know how to start or where to start. But then, through common friends who heard their stories, they thought that they should introduce them and that they should do something about it. And this is how IDC came to happen, and the summit came to happen by bringing over all the patriarchs from the Middle East and gathering them together for the first time in about 500 years, and then, having them also meet with President Obama at the time. It was a really very big summit in Washington, D.C., and one of a kind. And that was at a crucial time because, as you know, Mosul had fallen, and the situation in the Middle East was really very, very, very bad. So it happened at that crucial time. And I'm sure we're going to see, as you had told me, the video about the summit later. But that's how IDC came to happen. And IDC is its vision and mission is to protect and preserve Christians and Christianity in the Middle East.
Absolutely, and I remember, Chris, when they had the summit last year, it was all over mainstream media. I mean, it made such an impact with all the Christians, and not just Christians, but the entire international community. I mean, there were visitors from all over the world, and I mean, for this amazing organization just to stand up and flourish and be born because it was so needed. And it's, it's an honor and it's a relief, even personally for me, to know that we have such an amazing organization that is fighting for Christians in Washington, D.C., where all the decision makers are.
Absolutely. And on that note, we do have a video that we're going to show. It's the first video, and we're ready to see that right now, I believe.
Wonderful.
So, okay.
Let's take video.
The Christians of the Middle East have a rich cultural heritage. It was they who first translated ancient Greek texts into Arabic, thereby bringing philosophy and science to Islam in its golden age, which in turn transmitted this culture of learning to Europe. There they continue to live side by side with Muslims and others, bringing a pluralism that is vital to peace in the region.
Among the various religions of the Middle East, there is no other religion that has had the kind of cultural, political, and economic impact than Christianity has. If you look at all of the institutions and habits that come out of Christian history, the hospital, the university, the whole notion of civil society, which is a derivative of Christianity's refusal to be part of the state, always to insist that the church have a role in society independent of the state. This is the beginning of social pluralism.
ما في مشكلة إنه هذا الفكر صح. في البداية كان صعب يقبله الآخرين خاصة الطوائف الثانية، لكن مع مر الأيام الكنيسة الإنجيلية أثبتت وجودها وصار لها موافقة من الكنائس الثانية وبالإضافة من الدولة. في عندنا خدمات متنوعة الكنيسة، في عندنا خدمة اجتماعية نساعد المحتاجين من كل الطوائف والأطياف، في عندنا عرب، أكراد، سريان، بالإضافة إلى أنواع متعددة نازحين.
Today, however, the original Christian communities of the Middle East, Orthodox, Catholic and Evangelical, band together and struggle to survive. In recent decades, the rise of militant extremists has led to marginalization, discrimination, and outbreaks of violence against Christians and others.
The current wave of violence in places like Egypt and Syria and Iraq, I think, is due to the increasing dominance of various forms of Islamist extremism, violent Islamist extremism. It is now targeting Christians in a vicious and violent way, with ISIS in Iraq, with the al-Nusra group in Syria and others.
While some Christians have left to make new homes in the West, many millions more remain behind in their ancestral homeland, refusing to depart even at the risk of their lives.
عدد المهاجرين من سوريا، المسيحيين المهاجرين من سوريا زاد كثير، زاد بشكل كثير كبير. وطبعا كمان زاد هذا الشيء باستهداف المناطق المسيحية، إن كان بحلب أو بالشام أو بحمص، واستهداف المقدسات إن كان بمعلولة، إن كان بصدد. كون هذول مناطق مسيحية بحتة بشكل كامل، يعني توزعها الديموغرافي كله مسيحي، يعني كانوا عم يستهدفوا، القاعدة كانت عم تستهدف مناطق تواجد المسيحيين بهدف أنا باعتقادي إنه هو تهجير المسيحيين من المنطقة وإفراغ المنطقة من المسيحيين.
These Christians now call out to their brothers and sisters in the diaspora, to their brothers and sister Christians in the West, and to all people of goodwill to speak out on their behalf.
It is important for the faith community, whatever your interpretation, whatever your viewpoint, to come and advocate for the least, to be the voice for the voiceless.
It's very important for the Middle Eastern diaspora of Christians to be unified in their positions. They're competing against many voices on foreign policy and many issues. And if their voices are not ringing out as one, their voices will get lost.
There's a need for a group like In Defense of Christians that can raise awareness through conferences, through documentaries, through social media, through churches, through all of the means by which people get their information, because they're not getting it from the New York Times and the Washington Post and the Atlantic Monthly.
علشان تقدروا توصلوا للحقيقة بتاع الإسلام، علشان نقدر نوصل لحرية حقيقية، لديمقراطية حقيقية. كل اللي بيتعاش النهاردة حتى بعد الثورة، اللي مفيش حرية، مفيش ديمقراطية في مصر.
This is happening on the watch of all of us now, and so I think if something dramatically is not done, including prayer and mobilization and advocacy, you will see the Christian community emptied. And if that happens, that will not be good for Christianity, nor will it be good for anybody else in the world.
لكن احنا ما زلنا، انا كرجل دين بحاول اقول لا، دي بلدنا وهنفضل فيها وهنعيش رغم كل الاضطهادات اللي احنا فيها، لان احنا بنحب البلد وده وطننا مش ممكن نسيبه، وبنحاول نقول المسيحيين
Wow, what a heart-wrenching video. And thank you so much, Ninar and IDC, for sharing this amazing video to actually wake up an average American and just an average human to what's actually occurring in the world, and especially against our brothers and sisters in the Middle East. And also, Nina, I wanted to ask you, so how are you going about to protect and preserve Christianity and Christians in the Middle East? What is IDC's motives and missions?
Point out, please, that this video is one of our first videos. It was done last year, pre-summit. And so you can imagine how much nothing changed. If anything, things became even worse. And coming up with this convention that we have soon next week, we have new videos from the Middle East that will show you how things got worse. But I just wanted to point out how, you know, how old this was, and that how much time flies by fast. In 1 year, nothing happened, but things even got worse. So back to your question, the way we do it and how we go about you know, working on protecting and preserving Christians and Christianity in the Middle East is we do it through our 4 pillars: unity, awareness, advocacy, and aid. With unity, we mean the unity of the Christian diaspora in the USA, and we're just starting with the US, but we're actually going to be international. We're expanding to Canada, Australia, and even more countries. So it's the unity of the Christian diaspora. We want to be the voice of all Christians of the Middle East who are here in the US. And this includes Assyrians, Chaldeans, Syriacs, Copts, even Armenians, Lebanese Maronites, Lebanese Orthodox, you know, all Christians from the Middle East. We want to unite them together so that we have one strong voice that we can take to Washington, D.C. and say, all these people together, they are American citizens and they care about their brothers and sisters in the Middle East, and you have to start doing something about it. And the unity is also our outreach to the American Christian community with all its denominations, and to any person of goodwill who's interested in this subject, because as you just mentioned, this is a humanitarian crisis. This is not just about Christians being persecuted, and as we know, many other minorities are being persecuted in the Middle East. So we want to build that bridge and unify our united together Christians, Christian diaspora, with the American Christian community and with any person of goodwill, because we believe that this strengthens one voice that will demand Washington to do something about it. So that's unity. And then awareness is we raise awareness through education, through media, through outreach itself. You're raising awareness, really, you know, when you're explaining about the Christian plight, when you're educating through videos and you're telling people what's happening over there. Through advocacy, we are very big on advocacy, really. We have a government relations department, and we're based right in Washington, D.C. on Capitol Hill. So what we've done many things since the summit. During the summit, like I said, we gathered the patriarchs in a 40-minute meeting with President Obama. That was really unique in history. Then we helped multiply the members of Caucus of Religious Minorities in the Middle East, and this caucus is co-chaired by Congressman Fortenberry and Congresswoman Anna Ishu. So this wasn't a really very popular caucus because no one really cares about religious minorities in the Middle East, but with the help of IDC and of our members and of our raising awareness and talking about this, the members of this caucus really tripled, you know. This is one thing we've been doing on the side of advocacy, in addition to Hill briefings on Iraq and all of our work and close work with many members of Congress. The fourth pillar is aid, and although we're not really a humanitarian aid organization, but we try to serve immediate needs in the Middle East. For example, in Lebanon, we do it through our team there because we're really lucky. We have many board members in Lebanon, so we have the ability to do it over there very easily. We've been able to help repeatedly many Christians from Syria and Iraq who are now in Lebanon. And it's worth to point out here that they're not in refugee camps in Lebanon. They're living around the church with friends or extended family, and they have to, you know, afford the living expenses of any Lebanese local, although they do not have a work permit, or they cannot really work, even if they could as Syrians. But because Syrians in Lebanon can work, but they do not have job. The economy in Lebanon is very bad. So they have to survive, and they have many needs, and no one is helping them. So we we're really, happy that we were able to help a little bit, at least, with over $200,000 through our donors, help them. And even lately, this included helping Armenians who also fled Aleppo. As you know, it was really very bad in Syria and Aleppo for the Armenians. Right. But mainly what we intend to do is work with organizations, aid organizations that are already established and have their infrastructure on the ground, because it will be much easier for us to help them to raise whatever aid we have for them, and then they can distribute it. I mean, we would be working towards the same cause. So through these 4 pillars, unity, awareness, advocacy, and aid, we hope to, how do we really preserve and protect Christians in the Middle East? Because we are helping those who want to stay over there be able to survive, and we are helping raise awareness about their issue among the people so that they stand with them, but also in Washington, D.C., in the political scene, hoping to influence, policymakers making the right decisions about this crisis.
Absolutely. Very well said, Dinar. And, just to add on to that, too, it's so important to preserve Christianity where it started. That's our obligation as Christians, every Christian, to preserve the beginning of all Christianity so that we have the foundation there still. And also, a lot of people don't understand why we should help them there and why it's important to eradicate an issue as big as extremism is because it will be here one day. We have amazing organizations like IDC advocating for us and fighting for us politically. That's because they see the great danger that this may cause against the whole world, especially our country here in the United States. But I'll let you
yeah, and on that note, we do have a video that we're going to show next here, Ninar, that allows us to take a look at the big event that
yes,
took
this
place.
is about the summit, and exactly the headline of the summit last September, Nahrain and Chris, it was about Christianity, where it all began. This is what we were trying to remind people, and this is only one of the reasons why it's important to preserve Christianity in the Middle East. One of the many reasons, because it started there. So this video is about the highlights of our last summit, and just to show a little bit of the work we did, because it just projects our future projects as well, and the caliber of what we're working on.
Great. Well, we'll take a look at that right now. It's about 5 minutes long.
This is Speaker John Boehner. I want to extend a warm welcome to the attendees of the In Defense of Christians inaugural summit for Middle East Christians and congratulate you on a successful event.
More and more, all of us in this room and around the world recognized the need to speak up, to be actively engaged in lifting up the situation of our sisters and brothers in the Middle East.
I congratulate this organization, In Defense of Christians, for coming together to rise up to defend the Christian communities of all traditions across the Middle East.
This is a great and historic gathering at this bipartisan and ecumenical summit.
How many Christians will be killed before the world reacts?
Persecution, suffering, massacres have marked the history of Christianity in the Middle East.
Protect, advocate for all of those who are in need, across denominations, across faiths, across party politics.
We must stand united against the persecutions of other Christians, of Ahmadis and other Muslims, Baha'is, Hindus, Buddhists, and Jews.
Christians in Iraq, Syria, and elsewhere in the Middle East have an ancient right to remain in their ancestral homeland as much as anyone else. The Christian communities of the region have traditionally served as a leavening influence. This has been a hallmark of the Christian community's contribution to the stability and well-being of the Middle East.
In Defense of Christians' ultimate mission is to create a forum enabling people like all of us in this room to unite and work for the survival of the Christians of the Middle East.
Thank you for taking the time to stand with us in a way that speaks volumes about our commitment to make sure Christians and others around the world that are viewed as religious minorities have the support that they need.
I believe much good will come from this summit and ask you to carry forward today's work when this historical gathering has concluded.
Let's stand up, even to our so-called allies, and let them know that the United States will not ignore their crimes against humanity.
I'm reminded of the psalmist who wrote, "How lovely are the feet of those on the mountains who bring good news." Your feet coming to this city, assembling together in unity, brings good news, not just to Washington, D.C., but it's good news for the world.
Please just keep our people in Iraq, as well in Syria, as well in Lebanon and Egypt in your prayers.
We should demand action from the heights, the commands of power in our own country, and the Christians of the Middle East should be left in no doubt that those of us who are their brothers and sisters in the Christian faith in America and throughout the West stand with them.
In defense of all Christians, in defense of Jews, in defense of Muslims, in defense of humanity.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for land afar and mine.
What an amazing video. And a video like this truly gives a lot of Christians all over the world this hope, because a lot of them are losing hope. And when they watch things like that, to see that IDC in Defense of Christians has brought together all these decision makers literally in their first annual convention summit to bring this many decision makers together to, to demand action towards the persecution of Christians is truly, truly amazing. And I wanted to ask you a question. People in the West and in the United States are saying that Christianity has come to an ultimate end, or it will come to a complete annihilation. What does IDC have to say about that?
Well, Nahrain, we can say that the Christians have been driven out from Syria, from Nineveh Plains. We've seen that. We cannot deny that. They've been extinguished from areas that are now under ISIS control. But there are a million others who are still there in Egypt or in Lebanon. So this is not just, this is not enough to say or expect that Christianity is ending in the Middle East. And we'd love that those who left their regions, we'd love to see them go back there once it is safe. But I think it's far from saying that Christianity is ending in the Middle East.
Yeah.
So many Christians in the Middle East are not given a visa to come in the U.S. Do you think they are being discriminated against?
I don't know if they're being discriminated against, but I do know based on facts that they're not being treated equally, because we are seeing, as you know and as everyone knows, a change in the change of number in the quota of visa given to Christians from the Middle East. So this means that their concerns and that their problems are not of equal importance. We've seen different reactions from the current administration, and IDC being nonpartisan, nonprofit organization is with at the same distance from everyone. But we have seen these different reactions, and we hope that the Christians of the Middle East, we believe that any human being under life-threatening danger has the right to get a visa and go live somewhere safely. And we support that right, just like we support the other millions who want to stay there, and we work towards helping them remain in a safe area in their ancestral home.
Very well said, Ninar. And also, is there anything that the U.S. and the international community should be doing, something they're not doing already, that IDC highly recommends and urges them to do immediately?
IDC believes that both the U.S. and the international community need to be more aggressive about their military actions in the region. I mean, even the Pope said something along the lines of, you know, if it's life-threatening danger against human beings, then if forces need to be used, then forces need to be used. This thing has taken too long. It's been almost a year, and it's dragging and nothing is happening. So action needs to be taken. Military action, political action that's more aggressive towards this subject.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, you know, people have to understand that as ISIS is growing in such great numbers, whatever strategy they're doing right now is not working. They're increasing. There's over 100,000 of them. And in defense of Christians, I mean, it's an amazing organization that is standing up. But we, you know, thank God to them that they're actually placing pressure on these decision makers, but they truly need to listen to IDC. There needs to be an immediate implementation of a strategy. There is no need for any more paperwork. We need a solution. These people are in a life or death situation, and we cannot allow the destruction of Christianity, because it will be a chaos. It will be a failure for the whole world if we as humans cannot preserve an old religion such as Christianity, a religion that truly places equilibrium and harmony in the Middle East, and I truly believe in the world.
True.
And, okay, I'm sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, Nina.
No, you're saying.
You show such great passion as the director of IDC, you know, and you've reached the media. How did you first start with your passion with media involvement?
Well, my background is film and TV, and I've always been in media, but it was really a different world. It was entertainment, advertising, and marketing, production, and broadcast. But as a Lebanese and a Syrian, when this chance presented itself, and it was at a time where, you know, to be honest, it wasn't really, the world wasn't that entertaining. The world was sad. You see what's happening to your people, both in Lebanon or Assyrians or Chaldeans or Copts, or you feel for them. I mean, all Christians from the Middle East, I consider them my people. So when such a chance presents yourself where you can use your media experience, your production experience, your advertising experience for a good cause, then it feels rewarding. It feels satisfying, and it's a whole different level than, you know, just working on entertainment or with multinationals on, you know, big projects or big products. It's different, and it's definitely, if that was, you know, happening at a different time where it was very peaceful, maybe I wouldn't have been attracted to it. But now is the time where if any one of us with whatever background they have can help within their expertise, within their field of experience, then why not? I think they should, and I think they should help.
Absolutely, Nar, and I believe that you do such an amazing job, you know, just learning more about you and how much you, you know, work so amazingly for IDC, but also for these persecuted Christians and the voiceless. I mean, choosing a career path such as in the media communications and outreach is truly a gift, because you are also their voice, and they depend on people like you and also just IDC in general to voice their demands, because they cannot voice their demands. And also people in the West need to understand that these people have guns pointed to their heads. They won't voice their cries and their demands like they truly want to, because they're threatened to be killed if they have not been persecuted yet by ISIS. You know, they believe that they will come to their door any minute and persecute them, so they're afraid. I mean, if you knew that there was a threat, a terror group right outside your door, would you complain to the world and let them know what's happening? I mean, they're afraid. Sometimes they're too afraid to even voice their concerns over the phone. And also, Ninar, tell us more about the upcoming convention for IDC, and what does IDC intend to achieve from this amazing, amazing convention that I keep hearing about?
Yes, of course. Well, also I wanted to say that even if you have a voice and the passion to represent or to talk, represent someone, talk about them or help them, you cannot really do anything without, first of all, media, such as what you're doing, Nahrain, what Chris is doing. You have a platform for your voice that helps you. And same with me, my voice would be nothing without an organization like IDC. So we need platforms, we need organizations to channel our voices. And back to what you were saying even before that about the importance of saving Christianity in the Middle East, the time-sensitive issue and how things are happening, and how the people in America need to know this is what our next convention is all about actually. The National Leadership Convention, Mobilizing America for Christians in the Middle East. And as you know, Nahrain, you're one of our invitees, you're going to be on one of our panels. So this convention is all about our unity and the chapters, the grassroots, the Christian diaspora that we've been working with, the chapters that we've been creating nationwide. They're all coming to DC, and we're gathering them together in a 3-day convention. We're going to have them meet with members of Congress, speak to their local representatives, get their voice across, and so many different events, starting from a press conference on ISIS, genocide, and the international response at the Press Club in Washington, D.C., so that's also another awareness tool for the media and for the people. Then we have an ecumenical prayer that night at St. Joseph Church in Washington, D.C. The second day is a full day on Capitol Hill, like I just said, and you'll be part of it, Nahrain. You'll hear congressmen speak. You'll be able to meet with them per the chapters, or the diaspora will be able to meet with them per city. Then there's roundtables with NGOs similar to IDC to tell them how they do their work, to teach them about this. Then also with the staffers of the congressmen. Then that night there's a cultural event at the French embassy, because also you should celebrate the art and the culture of the Christians in the Middle East. We cannot just have everything, dramatic or neglect that part of the issue, because we are, like I said, preserving and protecting Christians and Christianity, and that involves culture. As you know, churches are being ruined, are being burnt. So we want to also raise awareness about these leading artists from different backgrounds of our Christian diaspora through movies, music, art exhibits, and that they are all related to the issue. The movies that we're screening, they've been filmed on location in Iraq, in Turkey, and in Syria, and in Lebanon. The music is all about this crisis, and so forth. And then the third day, we have panels on building bridges, on voices from the Middle East, which you'll be part of as well, and a workshop for the chapters, so that they go back to their cities and they know how to expand their chapter, they know how to unify themselves, and they know how to outreach to the American community. And we ended with our capstone event, our solidarity dinner at the Hyatt Regency on Capitol Hill, with many keynote speakers, such as we have Patriarch Yonan from the Syriac Catholic Church, and many, many others. I don't want to forget anyone, but this is the highlight of our event as well. So we look forward to it. We hope that this time it will make a difference. This is the part 2 after the summit. This is when we get to work. We got the patriarchs first. We raised the issue. We made our point. We've been working all year, creating these chapters, gathering these people, outreaching to the American community, and that's the part of the role of the chapters from now on. They're going to continue doing that. But now is the time for them to come, to have this contact on the Hill, and to take all the experience needed so that they can develop the work, so that we can go further and we can really make a difference, because like you said, there is no time. So this is why the whole subject of the convention is about mobilizing America for Christians in the Middle East. And we hope that we can make a difference.
Amazing, Ninar. Thank you so much, and God bless you, and God bless In Defense of Christians. And, you know, I I'm so honored to be invited and to be attending this amazing event. Yes, and thank you. And I highly recommend and urge everyone, please visit their website, www.indefenseofchristians.org, and please
Or
contact.
actually the convention website. It's even easier because the website, our website will direct them to the convention website. It's idcconvention.org.
Perfect.
And they can check out the schedule there or even register.
Absolutely. And this truly is literally our political defense military unit in Washington, D.C., advocating for us. They're all action. They're not just words. I mean, this is a fully operating unit that is defending Christianity, and God bless them. And also visit them on their Facebook. They have Facebook page. They have Twitter, Ninar, correct? And also, do you have an Instagram?
And YouTube channel. Yes.
And then the YouTube channel as well. And, you know, thank you again, Ninar, for joining our show today. And may God and all his angels be with In Defense of Christians. And thank you for all that you do for defending Christians and your entire team. Thank them all for us.
And
have a great conference. Thank you very much. Great to meet you digitally here. And we're excited for the conference. We'd like to talk with you maybe after it's over and let us know how it went. We want to continue to maintain contact with you. We're going to have to say goodnight because we have to get ready for another program. So good night.
Sure.
God bless you.
Thank you, Ninar.
Thank you, President.